Rebirth was the 7th movie in the Jurassic franchise, and while it was good in my opinion, it still felt short in some aspects, like the trailer making up like 60% of the T-Rex's screen time, and the absence of the promised fear factor. I mean, it could just be me, but I think the first Jurassic World was more terrifying because it was the first time we got introduced to something new. Being a rampaging hybrid that can kill anything on land and is smart enough to trick humans, but still I don't think even that can compare to the older movies. I'm sure you've read the title and are curious as to what's the most terrifying movie in this trilogy. Well, it's not any of the Jurassic World movies. I'll start off by saying that. They were cool, but if we're talking about scenes that would make a child sleep under their parents' bed, then the first 3 movies are definitely superior. We had raptors taking out entire squads and T-Rexes just grabbing people from the streets. However, in my opinion, the most terrifying movie in the Jurassic franchise would be Jurassic Park 3. I never got why this movie was so hated. From what I could see online, most of it was because of the T-Rex's death scene, and if that's the case, then it's the most stupid reason for hating the movie yet. Just take your L and move on. Although, even I will admit, there are still a bunch of other scenes that do deserve criticism. But hey, even if you didn't like the movie, you have to admit, a lot of the aspects were more unnerving compared to the first 2, which were nightmare fuel in their own right. I still remember when Ellie thought it was Arnold holding her shoulder, but it was just a severed arm. For those of you who may have some doubts and probably think the first 2 movies are more terrifying, sit back, relax, and allow me to show you why Jurassic Park 3 was the most chilling movie out of the 7 we have so far. In this movie, Grant is tricked into going on Isla Sorna by Kirby and Amanda to find their son Eric, who is now lost on Isla Sorna after Amanda's now late husband decides to take his stepson parasailing around an island filled with prehistoric animals. Not to mention it was an illegal touring company that took them. I mean, in the first 2 minutes of the movie, people die. And the thing is, it's not even confirmed as to what killed them. To be honest, it was probably just a case where the production team decided to kill off some people in the fog without saying what the culprit was. But if we do analyze it, the Spinosaurus is the most likely culprit. The Pteranodons weren't out at that specific time, and they wouldn't risk just flying into a fog while Eric and Ben were clear targets. To be honest, I was leaning more towards a marine reptile, but there isn't any evidence of a mosasaurus on Sorna. There was only one other thing on Sorna at the time that could swim that well and is powerful enough to dispatch 2 grown men without them being able to let out a single scream. I mean, Grant and Billy are excited as hell when they're flying over the island seeing all the free-roaming herbivores and whatnot, but then his excitement becomes one of despair after realizing they intend to land the plane. And given what Grant has went through, him being so flustered about being on the island says a lot. They have a run-in with the first major issue of this island the moment they land. A roar is heard and Grant, with fear and amazement in his voice, says it's bigger than a T-Rex. Soon after, Dusky and Nash come out running for their lives with massive guns in their hands, so the thing they were running from was at least resistant to gunfire. And as they began to take off, Cooper is just grabbed by the most hateful dinosaur this franchise has ever created. Not one dinosaur despises the human race as much as the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus. In the first movie, there was one Rex to worry about in terms of big dinosaurs that can break down a house and kill you. On Sorna, there's a crash out and 6 other Rexes on the loose. And just a heads up, Rexy's condition where she can't see you if you're still is something only attributed to her. The Rexes on Isla Sorna know exactly where you are, even if you decide to stay still. When the plane does crash after hitting 87, it eventually crash lands into a tree a decent distance away. Now, most carnivores, even one as inquisitive as raptors, would probably cut their losses and accept these people have gone, but not the Spinosaurus. Amanda has a panic attack after seeing the green eye of death look at her through the front of the plane. The crazy part is that it wasn't even a minute until the Spinosaurus caught out to them from the airstrip. So the moment Cooper got eaten, it chased them at top speed. Nash is the second one to go after the front of the plane got torn apart and would be the sole reason for the most iconic ringtone in the franchise. I mean, imagine thinking you're safe because you're 40 feet off the ground in a plane and something just rips the plane to shreds and then chases you at top speed through a field. On Nublar, you just have one big predator to worry about, and in the Lost World, Buck and Doe were the biggest things there you had to worry about. But here you have 7, well, after the Spinosaurus killed that Rex, 6 big things to worry about. The thing that made 87 so much of a threat towards humans was his relentlessness, and probably hatred towards our species. Granted, what won the rest of the ancient scientists did to him, I can't really blame him. Scene after scene after scene after scene, this massive 8+ ton hypercarnivore somehow tracks these people and goes to extraordinary lengths just to kill them. At that point, the thing wasn't killing for food. Grant himself said that regardless of if they split up or not, there's a high chance that they won't make it off the island alive. But luckily, they were the main characters and plot armor came in clutch. The same with Eric, by the way. My boy locked out with an upturned truck. The stepdad didn't have that luck though. The scene where Ben's withered corpse just falls on Amanda would make anyone in her shoes just book a therapist immediately. Picture this, you just came out of a divorce, the other person was terrible and did not suit you. But you find someone else who loves you even more than them and fits into your world. Then 8 weeks later, their maggot-filled corpse falls directly onto you out of the blue, sending you on the floor. The Spinosaurus did really test everyone else's luck though, standing right behind them, letting the phone ring out so they could all see them, just to crash out and go on a chasing spree like never before. only being stopped by a reinforced door. In this movie, not even the water is safe. I mean, it was made abundantly clear from the guys on the boat, but damn, even inland, the novels had swimming T-Rexes, but Jurassic Park 3 decided to replace them with a new dinosaur, and this one once again goes through great lengths to get these tiny humans. Even when they are in a massive steel cage, he tries to fish them out with his bare hand, but fortunately that plot armor came in clutch and a massive oil fire sets up a barrier even he can't cross. You're probably saying the Spinosaurus alone can't be the sole reason this movie is so much more horrific than the rest. Almost every other film had a big carnivore, but did any other film have one that specifically wanted to end us? It's not a case where, oh, you stumble across one of them or you happen to be in the same area like the other movies. This one actively seeks you to the end. No matter how fast or far you run, it will find you. But you are right in one sense, and that's the fact that the Spinosaurus isn't the sole reason for this movie being on the list. In the novels, the raptors were not just vicious but strategic as well. I mean, the things managed to outsmart even Henry Roux, and then tore his intestines while he was still alive. All, or at least most of these movies had roided up raptors. But outside from that one scene where the big one set up a trap in Jurassic Park 1, we don't get much more scenes of raptors trying to lure or trick people. Eric said that they constantly patrol the lab even though it's not really a nesting area of theirs. Is it just a convenient area that acts as a shelter from storms, weather and other stuff? Or do they keep patrolling that area waiting in case people somehow show up? But in the case of this movie specifically, it was just to get back their eggs from Billy. They picked up the scent of humans and saw their eggs were missing, so they knew the first place they'd likely go would be the abandoned lab. And one male did just that. He went in ahead of time and stood behind a tube and stayed as still as possible to psych these people out. The moment Amanda was in striking range, he popped off and backed them into a corner. Luckily they think quick and temporarily trap him until the rest come. A whole chase scene happens, etc, but Odesky's death would make it in the top 3 most painful deaths out of all these movies. The raptors in Jurassic Park 3 are so clinical that one drove its big claw into Odesky's spine. Not enough to kill him, but enough to partially paralyze him and let him move his limbs about. Well, somewhat. They then drag him into an open area where the rest of the group could see him, so everyone would just come down from the tree. This was one of the parts of the movies where I get why some people didn't like it, outside of the T-Rex thing. Amanda was about to fall off the tree but was saved by a convenient branch that caught her foot. The mere fact that they were able to do this is incredible. Like 99% of us would have fallen for this if it was someone we actually cared about, like a best friend or a family member, because I sure wasn't going down there for some wannabe mercenary I don't know. Poor Odesky didn't even get to pass away from blood loss or infection. When he was no longer deemed useful, they just broke his neck. He wasn't even seen as a source of food, just an object that served its purpose. With that considered, at least they got back their eggs. But in the process, they basically said, beat it, because the next time we see you, you'll have no more bargaining chips. The movie did also have a Ceratosaurus, but this was another scene that had so much potential. I know carnivore poop smells, but you're telling me it was so bad that they just walked away after seeing a group of easy meals right in front of it? But hey, even if it didn't do anything, it still wouldn't be a pleasant sight. Imagine a 10-foot tall horned theropod looking you in the eyes as it comes towards you. However, as a 9-year-old, the dinosaurs weren't the scariest things in the movie. It was seeing this thing looking at me through the screen as though I was next. The pteranodons in Jurassic World could barely lift up a person, and weren't all that bad, but these things, they were menaces. One just walked out of the haze or farming as though it was expecting their arrival and then just picked up Eric and dumped him into the nest. From the skull Eric threw, it seems other people died this way, probably a scientist. The parents crippled the person enough so it couldn't really fight back, and the young then tore them apart. For those saying the pteranodons were the ones that killed the folks in the beginning of the movie, I don't think that's possible because they were trapped within the confines of the aviary. Or maybe I'm wrong, you guys can let me know. The way they walk is terrifying too. Imagine throwing your hardest kick at one of these things and it just keeps walking towards you with a purpose. Even when everyone escaped, the scene with Billy getting mauled is not something little extra stuff wanted to see. They were basically waterboarding the guy, and this one on the rock didn't even take part. It just slowly turned around and was like, yeah, you better worry about yourselves. To be honest, the only other movie that comes close to the gruesome atmosphere in this movie was the one just before it, The Lost World. The combination of the T-Rex spear and raptor scenes was one of my favorites. 10-foot long raptors digging up under a shed to get you, and then Eddie Carr's death. This poor fellow didn't get a break, not in the film or the novel. Hell, I mean the events on The Lost World was the exact reason why Isla Sorna became restricted. I mean, dear heavens, a group of puppy-sized reptiles maimed a little kid. If I'm being honest, the first 3 films were the best for this sort of thing. The Jurassic World movies were more action-packed and leaned more towards big dinosaur fights. Most of that horror aspect was gone, although I will say the first Jurassic World was a masterpiece. I'd give it like a 8.5 out of 10. We saw something new and it was badass. I mean, what's better than a dude riding through the jungle with a raptor pack? Every other movie though? I don't know. Even Rebirth isn't what I thought it would be. But let me know what you think. Is Jurassic Park 3 really the scariest out of the 7, or is it just another overrated film with gore? Anyway, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.